You're listening to a 58 Ember production.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast. My name is Sarah Alice Liddy.
And my name is Audrey Jean Flowers, and we both use she, her pronouns.
We do. We are back in studio today, and we have a lovely guest. Combine those two words. Killing it. A lovely guest with us. Emily, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Thanks for being here today.
Oh my gosh. This is my third podcast ever.
How do you like it?
I like it, but I think it's very interesting because I don't talk about all the sides of my life to every single one of my friends.
Yeah.
So it's so weird to articulate and talk about different kinds of topics in that way, in a different space. So
No,
it's very
100%.
different.
Yeah. I feel like especially being on TikTok versus doing the long form, 45 minutes to an hour talking, you can go in so many different places versus a TikTok where sometimes it's really just focusing on one specific topic of your life. Each video is something different. Whereas a podcast, I feel like you can kind of weave into the different parts.
Yeah. And I like talking about so many different things.
Yeah.
Not just one particular thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we're so happy to have you today. And, honestly, I think I'm going to start with, so I came across your TikTok and we've been doing a lot of researching, just getting to know who you are for prep today. And I thought it was, I know that is the really interesting,
scary.
you know what? I was typing out your stuff this morning and I was thinking how would I feel if somebody went through my entire social media and just got to know me?
Well, when we were in college, there was an assignment where everyone got assigned someone else in class, and we had to go and do a search of them of what comes up if you go and search them.
Really?
And I remember my partner, it was very easy for them because there was almost nothing because I changed my name when I was in college. So there was no proof of me further than 4 years
that
back.
works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we did it one time.
Yes, it's interesting. Well, because I feel especially if you're on TikTok, it's really easy for me to
Yes.
just go. I usually just go to the bottom of your TikTok and literally watch everything. But I was thinking about
And
it
then
this
my
morning.
phone crashes, and then I have to scroll back.
I've had coworkers, of course, I look up coworkers.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
a conversation, just see, okay, what's their history? You look up my name, first things, TikTok. And it's oh.
I hate when coworkers are like, I listened to your podcast, and I literally
Don't.
don't. And they're like,
I don't want to
why
hear it.
not? And I was like, no. I don't want anyone I know to watch anything I
It's not for
create.
you.
That's what would be ideal. And it's now actually become a point where I meet up with friends and they're like, so I know everything happening in your life because you've said it all in the podcast. And so I'm like, I guess you give me a one-on-one podcast right now because any story I'll tell you, you already know the ending.
Well, you also don't know how much people know. Are they a follower that they religiously listen to your content and watch your content? They stay up to date on everything. So you don't feel like you have to fill them in, or do they
Right.
only know a little bit, they don't know where you're from, but they've seen your stuff before. So it's very interesting.
How have you navigated that with work? Have people come to you and been what's up with TikTok, or how has that gone down for you?
I personally like to keep it very separate.
Okay.
When I'm at work, I'm in work mode. I've had coworkers bring it up before, and I just feel like I don't engage. I just laugh and oh gosh, I'm sorry, that's come up on your For You page. Just because I have always been, I like to keep it professional.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to get the wrong idea of me at work, even though I know that that's a part of who I am. And everyone knows when you're in corporate, there's so much more to you than just a strict
100%.
corporate and professional. But it's hard because I also don't want my coworkers to not take me seriously. And that's something that's really hard. And I did engineering in college. And I feel like being a girl engineer, that's something that was always hard because I always wanted to be taken seriously. I never had my nails painted. Just so many random things that I feel like I had to put myself in this box so that people took me seriously, which is very sad
Interesting.
looking back. But
My mom, so she was a computer engineer,
Okay.
and she spoke about that, how she was often the only girl in her
Yeah.
classes. And actually a very now funny thing is one of my best friends was explaining girl math to her, and my mom really doesn't like the idea of girl math because she's like, no, girls can do
It's
math.
just
And
math.
I'm like, I swear the trend is not implying that women don't know how to do math, but she really doesn't like girl math because she faced that so much. And then even more in the workplace of
Yeah.
often the only woman.
It's hard.
Yeah.
hard. But yeah, I do try to keep it separate.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because my 9 to 5 is in content creation. Like I work for a media agency and then I'm on a specific brand and I make content for their TikTok.
Oh my god.
So it's very like one and the same. Like they like that I have my own stuff, but for people who are doing the both, like it's very interesting to see like how it balances out because it is so weird to think that like your coworkers can go on your TikTok and just see some things that like maybe normally you wouldn't express at work,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know?
When I first started posting, well, I guess it was a couple months into posting, I was really open. My dad passed away and I was really open about it. Or
Yeah.
I wouldn't say really open, but I was open about it. But now I feel like since I've started my career, I'm more hesitant to say certain things
Mm,
because there's always, and I've always, my parents were really good growing up. Be careful what you put on social media. What you put out there lives there forever.
sure.
I remember in high school, I tweeted a bad word and my dad flipped on me. So I was really good about keeping my social media tame and very professional, but I definitely am less likely to be more open nowadays,
Yeah.
but I try to be.
Why did you start posting on social media?
Oh, good story.
Yeah.
Well, I was in a relationship
Okay.
and I did a 5th year at college, and then after I guess it was March of 2022, I got out of that relationship that ended. So I did not want to be lonely. All my friends had graduated in that 5th year. So I didn't really have many friends. And I was like, you know what better time than now to
Yeah.
start? So, and it was something I was really passionate about. I've always loved beauty, hair, fashion, skincare,
Yeah.
makeup, just all the things. And I've always posted stuff on like private Snapchat stories and stuff in high school. So I don't know. I was like, now's the time. What
Yeah.
better time than now?
Yeah.
So
No, 100%. Yeah, that's really interesting, like, using the social media because nobody was there and, like, you were like, "Oh, my friends aren't there." Like, what is a way that I can feel some sort of, like, community or friendship or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I think are there videos? I don't know if you went this far back,
Let's
but there
see.
are videos of me talking and I'm like quietly whispering to the camera
Yeah.
because I lived in like a frat house with 2 guys and 3 other girls and we weren't like really close.
Okay.
And so I knew that they would probably make fun of me and I knew that they were, but I didn't care because I was passionate about it and I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to do it. But I was like whispering to the camera. And it was so cringy to look back at it, but that's how you get better. You have to start somewhere. And that's why I
Mhm.
get DMs sometimes like, how do you start? It's like you just have to start.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys experienced that with the podcast. I don't know how long you thought about it before you actually did it, or if it was just some spontaneous thing. But if you don't start, it's never gonna happen.
'Cause, like, of
100%.
course you're gonna be bad in the beginning. You've never done it
Oh,
before.
Oh
The
my
only
God.
way
I
to be
think
better is
about
to
it.
be shitty. But like,
Yeah.
I think when you're a kid, you're allowed to be shitty at things, and like,
Mm.
I think as an adult, it's much harder and it feels much scarier to
Mhm.
be bad.
I know. It's like embarrassing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Especially, like, I think in this world where people do have certain maybe judgments or think it's, like, quote, unquote, "silly" to, like, post on social media and try and make a career out of it, like, I think people can be judgmental of that, but I 1,000% agree with you, like, I think about the first, like, couple of TikToks or a couple like, honestly, maybe the first 50 podcasts that we did. We've had it now, like, we've almost been recording for 2 years, but we started, like, doing work for it like months in advance just because small steps for us like led the way to it. But yeah, I feel like at the beginning everything is never going to be exactly perfect and how it'll end up being in the end, but like you said, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so I want to actually go back a little bit before we go forward. But, so I was watching your content and I thought it was really interesting and really self aware. You had talked about like in high school feeling like you had like a pretty negative mindset. And then, having this moment where you felt like you needed to kind of like take some small steps to start transforming your life. And so I kind of just want to ask you, like, who was Emily back then? And like, was there a specific moment or event or something that happened to you that made you be like, I think I need to start kind of changing my mindsets and changing the way that I'm looking at my life?
in high school, I did not, like many people, right? I mean, I feel like no one knows who they are.
Oh my God, no.
I mean,
I still don't
No,
really know.
yeah, like, let's be
everyone's
real.
faking it till they make it. No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't know who I was, and
Mm.
I was in the STEM program at my high school. So, and the way that my mom and dad raised me was you be friends with everyone. You don't have to just have one friend group. So I was friends with a lot of different kinds of people. I had my STEM friends, then I had my friends from middle school. I played lacrosse, so I had those friends. Like I just had a ton of different friendships, but I think also with that I tried to be a different person with different people.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in. So I was very negative. I would say mean things or act or be negative, and I don't know, just stupid stuff in high school that you would do to try to fit in.
Yeah.
And then this is so weird. I kept hitting my head, like I kept getting concussions.
Oh no.
I'm sorry for laughing.
No, it's like funny. The most random things I would hit my head on. I'd be at like a house party in high school, and I would go up on the counter, and there'd be a random cabinet that I didn't see, and I would get a concussion.
Oh my
And then a
gosh.
lacrosse ball would hit me on the head during practice, or I would get in I just kept hitting my head. I was like, and instead of my mindset when that would happen is I would be like, oh, of course that would happen to me. And I would always say, I'm so unlucky. And I would just have a lot of random bad stuff happen to me. And then my senior year, I tore my ACL. I don't know, I think it was halfway through the lacrosse season. And I was out for the rest of the lacrosse season. And that was after getting hit on the head and concussion after concussion for the entire year. And I was laid up that entire summer while everyone was out having fun, enjoying their last summer before college. And I was like, okay, I'm like not happy. Something needs to change. And then I started watching. Do you know she's an Australian content creator, Sarah's Day?
I don't think so. I've never seen
Sounds
her.
familiar, but
I think one of my friends in high school introduced me to her, but she just had the most positive mindset. And she had like basically manifested this life for herself. And she was in a horrible relationship. She totally transformed her life. And I guess now it's 7 years later when I found her. But I remember being on YouTube and watching her video and being like, I want this girl's life. She has this positive mindset. That's what I need to do. So I took that whole summer, and then I did community college my first year. I lived at home. So that summer and that whole year, I feel like I just completely changed everything about myself, my mindset, my attitude. And then good things started happening to me. And it just started going up from there.
Yeah. How did you go about like changing your mindset? Was there certain things that you said to yourself?
I think one of my big things is, and quotes I live by, is confidence comes from making and keeping promises to yourself.
100%.
ooh,
It's not my quote. I wish.
no, but keeping promises to yourself. Hard, but also radically changes. Trusting yourself and having the ability to trust yourself because you've proven to yourself you're trustworthy.
It's
life-changing.
powerful.
Yeah. If you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you have no ability, like you stop believing in yourself. So where was I going with that?
What you did to change mindset.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
There you
So
go.
that
You're
was a
so
big
good at
thing.
that.
Audrey's
so good at Sorry, I was like, you're so good at that. She's so good at getting people back to where they are because I do the same
backtracking
thing.
in conversation.
I'm horrible. So it's perfect.
Do you want to know? This is a little off topic. Do you want to know a trick for if someone's speaking
Yeah.
and you want to say something and you don't want to like lose ink at whatever? I don't know if you know the sign language alphabet, but if someone's saying something and I really want to speak but still be present to them, but I have something I really want to say,
Okay.
whatever the main idea of it is, like say I need to tell them about some sort of apple,
Okay.
make an A with your hand. So when they
Oh.
finish speaking, when it's over, you can return to A. That's probably going to be enough to remember apples.
Oh my god.
And so you can be
so
present without
interesting.
having to.
Okay, so I do need to go learn the alphabet.
Yes. I do
But
need to do
after
that
I do
first.
that, I'll definitely use that.
I swear,
That's a
very
good
helpful. A little off topic, but very helpful.
Okay, I'll start using that. That's good.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Mindset, how you changed it.
So I started making and keeping promises to myself. That was
Yeah.
a big thing. I really wanted to be an engineer, and I
Mhm.
really didn't think I could. Even I think it was my calc professor, or I guess teacher they call it in high school. She even said to me one time, as long as you don't want to do anything in math, you'll be fine.
Why would you say that to a student?
No, it was awful. But like in her defense, I didn't study. I gave up my junior year. I was really dedicated freshman, sophomore year, but junior year hit, I was burned out. So
Get that.
I was horrible, and I would fail all these exams. I had no idea what was going on in calc. So, like, of course I was failing because I didn't study.
Yeah.
So I started studying, and I was like, I am going to do well in school, and I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this. I can be an engineer. I'm smart. I am capable. And that was a big thing for me. I kind of poured that into education. And so, yeah, started making keeping promises to myself.
Yeah, I love that. We talk about that a lot on the podcast. I
Mhm.
feel like I think like we both could admit we go through phases where it's stronger, where we keep
Yeah.
keeping the promises, and then sometimes like things like slip off and like whatever. I think that's like especially I saw this quote or not quote. I saw somebody speaking about this on TikTok the other day about how like when you graduate college, it's like almost like you're going back to when you're 14. Like, have you heard the concept of like being a teenage adult or being like a child adult on TikTok?
Right.
And people are like, it's almost like you're going back to like when you're an early teen and you don't know anything again. And so now you're trying to like relearn like who you are and how you function in this world. And so I feel like that like learning to keep the promises to yourself is like almost it reminds me of like early high school.
And like this is probably not like a month ago, but we spoke with someone who was like all about like mindset and manifestation. And in prep for that, like I did a lot of research into like sort of the science of it. And if you believe that you can do something, you're radically more likely to succeed at it.
100%.
But you're not going to believe in yourself if you don't trust yourself.
Mm,
And the only way you're going to trust yourself is by proving to yourself you're trustworthy. Like
Yeah.
if
absolutely.
someone has broken promises to me every single day of my life, I'm not going to trust them very much. And
That's
for a lot of
so
us,
true.
yeah, we've broken a lot of promises to ourselves. And like there are certain ones like you need to like you have to be able to like forgive your failures and try and do better because just holding on to the failures like
Yeah.
it's not helping anyone.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you guys think that you do or that you would promise to yourself every day that would make your day better? You're like, okay, as long as I did this one thing, that would make my day.
Oh, this is so interesting.
Getting up with the first alarm.
That's a great one.
That is a
So
good
hard.
one. That's
And
a
I've been doing
good
really bad at
one.
it the last few weeks. I
I
literally
have like every
I
5 minutes.
I
That is me. I
I
am like
snoozed mine for 2 hours in 4-minute increments. So it's not like I got any more sleep. I was being woken up every 4 minutes.
no, I do the same thing. Even this morning, I'm like, oh, okay, so I really need to be out of my bed by this point. So I'm going to set my first alarm at this point and then the second one there. That's a really good one. What is something I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is something simple, but lately I've fallen off of making my bed.
That is mine.
Yeah, yours, yeah.
That's mine. Because I feel put together.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, as long as I just make my bed, I did one thing that
Yeah.
I said I was gonna do.
That one used to work better for me, but currently so I
Uh-oh.
Okay. I run very hot, and in the summer, AC is expensive enough. So what I've been doing during the summer is I just have my duvet cover without the duvet in it.
So just the
the
basically,
sheet. It's basically
just like a
sheet,
top
a
sheet.
double
But
sheet.
I don't use the top sheet because I am so aggressive when I sleep that I
Yeah.
just stopped using
Me
a top
too.
sheet. And
Me
like
too.
that's I've family friends in England. Whenever we visit them, I was like, this is better. A top sheet is just
Yeah,
stupid. So I've been sleeping with just like the empty duvet cover, which like there's no way to make it look nice when making it. Like it looks insane. And it's not cold enough for me to put the duvet back in, but
That's
like
so funny.
I do just look like what the fuck is happening here? Like it's so embarrassing looking even when I make it nice and put all my pillows like
I was gonna say, do you have pillows?
I
You
have
could, like-
pillows. It just looks like a mistake.
Ugh,
It's so
I don't know
funny.
about that one.
Yeah, no, I feel you. The bed making thing is a good one. I was so good about it my first like couple years post grad, and then I feel like in the last like 6 to 8 months.
Or always washing my face at the end of the day. I was so good in high school. I was always so good at like, hey, if you were able to stay up this late, you can stay up the extra 2 minutes it takes to
Not
wash your
even.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally I'm in a studio, like it's 3 steps to my bathroom. And I still won't do it sometimes.
That's bad.
I know.
That's a non-negotiable. It's like brushing my teeth. I'm like every night I don't care. I'm
If I
taking
have
body
makeup, I absolutely do.
Okay.
But occasionally, there's some nights.
bad.
I
I
know.
get on my mom for that. I'm like,
But I've got so what I will do is so I keep my like little retinol and moisturizer for the evening in my bedside table.
Mhm.
And so if I don't
And
want to wash my
you're like
face, I'll
asleep,
just
like-
as I'm lying in bed, put it on, put on my cream, and like go directly
You know
to
what you
sleep.
should get? You should get Clean Skin Clubs. They have these really
Oh, I've heard
massive. I'm obsessed with them. I love their like one-use towels because I have a lot of hormonal acne, and so I think that it really helps that. But they also have these like giant like cleansing wipes, and I feel like those would be good to just like sometimes that's what I do. I put them like in my thing, and if I'm really like passing out in
Yeah.
my bed, I'm like just like want unless it's makeup, then I really gotta
Yes.
yeah,
scrub it off.
something is better than nothing.
Yes,
Yes.
100%. I think that's what I've learned a lot as like growing up is like you said this a lot, maybe a couple
When
months
I was
ago.
really depressed.
Sure. Is that like some like what is like your nighttime routine for when you can give like 110%? Like I'm gonna put every single thing on my
What's
face.
achievable for right
And
now?
then or what like, hey, I'm in bed and I'm like falling asleep. Like what's achievable for that? I really like that.
I mean, like, I think I actually probably read this on like Tumblr or some shit when I was in like high school or something. I still have a Tumblr account. I go on it
No
occasionally.
way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not on Twitter, but I am on Tumblr. You're not gonna find my account. But anyway, I saw something of being like it was someone posting about a conversation they had with their therapist of like, hey, just do the easy version. And I've had similar conversations with my therapist of like, if putting together a sandwich is just too much, grab a fistful of the deli cheese
Yeah.
and like ham and whatever and just eat it like that. You don't need to make it. Like
Yeah.
I've had times where I've been really depressed and like showering just feels way
Too
too
much.
intense. And I'll just sit in the shower and I'll sit in the shower for a while until I get comfortable enough. Then I'll run the bath water until like I'm like, well, my feet are already wet. Might as well turn on the shower water. Then I'll turn on the shower. And sometimes I'll shower just fully sitting in the shower. But-
it's the easy.
Yeah, it's better to do the 10% of something than to have the most disgusting hair where it's like
Yeah.
itchy.
Oh,
You know that?
Oh,
You know
no.
that place?
Yeah.
I've gotten us really off topic. Anyway.
No, that's okay. What are some of like your favorite mindsets or even like self-care routines? Because I feel like they're kind of
Mhm.
one and the same what we're talking about, like in your post-grad life.
in terms of like mental health self-care or physical self-care?
Honestly, both.
or-
Yeah.
I think being active,
Okay.
Mhm.
walking is something that has really changed my life. That
Yeah.
was it. I mean, we're talking about you mentioned the easy way of
Yeah.
doing things or like the bare minimum. Making my bed that's probably like the one thing at the bare minimum, like, okay, just make your bed.
Right.
The next for me would be my morning walks.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
That is the one time I feel like I have to myself. I can put my phone on do not disturb. I don't owe anyone anything.
Yeah.
So just having that, listening to a podcast or music or whatever I need, taking that time.
Yeah.
Is like one of my ultimate form of self-care. Also taking care of yourself is so important. And
Yeah.
that to me is at least I'm moving my body. Like if I did nothing else, at least I moved my body a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool to like watch your content and see how much like you value taking care of yourself as somebody that has sometimes like struggled with that in different capacities. Like it was very inspiring to me. And it was funny. Because
Aw.
we were supposed to do this at the beginning of October.
Mhm.
And so I forget, I don't know. I had saved a couple of your videos and I was like, and I think a lot of people know about gratitude and obviously, but like sometimes you just need to be reminded of doing it.
Mhm.
And so my partner and I started doing this thing because I was like, I'm really inspired of like with the gratitude because sometimes my mindset can get negative too, like maybe things are out of control and you just don't know how to like get it back in check. But I was like, let me remind myself of like 3 things like a day or a week or whatever it may be that like, are going well. And so my partner and I just started like once a week, like just saying like 3 things that we were grateful for to each other.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and I was like, like this is it's just like a reminder, and that's what I think I loved from your content was like the small reminder that you can give yourself that hey, like through all like the craziness of work and like this and that and the other thing, there are things that are really great in your life, whether it's like your cup of coffee in the morning or something really great happened at like your job.
And that self-care isn't just like I think self-care has been very commercialized to a level of like
Oh,
face
they're
care.
getting their check. Oh, yeah, okay.
Self-care
Great.
isn't just like doing a face mask and getting your nails
Yeah,
done. It's
yeah.
like, no, like the idea of self-care I think is really radical. Like
Mhm.
taking care of yourself is a very important thing and a very like I think kind of radical thing in this world.
Yeah. I think I mean, I have meltdowns a lot where I just get really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And the last little meltdown I had was this past Tuesday, and I called my mom and I'm crying and I'm just like, I'm so overwhelmed.
Mm.
And she's like, okay, like what can we do? What needs to change? And I'm like, that's the problem. I was crying so overwhelmed because I didn't want anything to change because I'm
Mm.
so happy
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful for the life that I am creating for myself. But it's okay to be overwhelmed sometimes. And I don't know, just reminding myself through the cries and breathing, just being like, I'm so grateful. It's okay. I'm overwhelmed right now, but I'm grateful for this life I live and I'm the life I'm building for myself right now.
Yeah.
So it's good to have those reminders in the back of your head.
100%. I get that. I really relate to the overwhelming feeling being so like
No.
overwhelming. I think often when I have my freak out moments, it is from feeling like very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I can imagine like having a full-time job, then doing also content creation, like it can get very overwhelming.
Do you feel that at all with playing the double?
Sometimes, you see, I think it can be a little bit easier because my actual job is like the 9 to 5 is in content creation, but then also sometimes I feel like that can be overwhelming because when does it stop? Like
When can you turn off?
yeah. And so I feel like even in the last couple weeks, I've kind of gone back from making content for myself because sometimes I'm just like, I need to get off this fucking app. I don't want to film everything that I am doing. Like, I really do love it, but sometimes it can be hard when that is the job that you're doing as well. But yeah, I think so. And then also having the podcast, sometimes I can get really overwhelmed because it's like I want to give everything to like the podcast and like my social media because those are the things that I hope will take off one day. But you know, I also need money to live.
Yeah.
And that's where that job comes in.
Health insurance. all
Yeah.
things.
Do you get overwhelmed with
Oh.
living the double?
All the time.
Yeah.
My friends are like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I have the sense of or the feeling of being overwhelmed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I'm actively trying to work on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anything to change. I want to say yes to everything.
Sure.
Who doesn't? But I do need to learn to start saying no to some things because at what point, like you can't just keep saying yes to everything. Like there has to be boundaries. And
Yeah.
like you were talking about, when do you turn off? It's
Yeah.
hard because if I'm doing my 9 to 5 and then in the morning, if I'm editing a video or shooting content and then I have my 9 to 5 or I work till 6 and then afterwards I'm doing content or doing something or filming a brand deal, whatever it is, it's like I can't just do that like on repeat every single day.
Right.
And then the weekend sometimes I have to use for brand deals.
No,
So,
yeah.
like I mean, you guys, I know you get it. It's
Yeah.
when do you stop and just learn to enjoy yourself? But I also think this is a passion of your guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
totally.
it's like that's your hobby as well. So I don't know. I think there's a line that's like convoluted a little bit.
Yeah.
I think so. Like we both got our degrees in music theater, and like I still
Really?
do
Yeah.
acting, and Sarah doesn't for the time being. And like it's very weird when a hobby and passion
Like-
becomes a career, and it's very weird to like find the balance of like I full
Mhm.
stopped doing theater for a while because I stopped loving it,
Mhm.
and like even with like content and like podcast stuff, like I really do enjoy it, but there are some weeks where it's just like
Oof.
fucking sucks.
No,
And,
literally. Yeah.
it's-
There's some
it's
weekends like where I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, if this wasn't here, like it would just be like a weekend.
Yeah.
And then usually it's like when I'm driving to it that I'll be like, wait, like I get to do this. I'm
so
really
excited.
excited about it. Like I do. Sometimes it's like just the preparing to like get to it that can be hard. But yeah, I think right now I've been realizing that, and I think it kind of comes in waves. Like oh, I really need to like value the balance. And then sometimes there's not valuing the balance. But no, I get you. I get the whole like before work doing the extra thing and then after work doing the extra thing that your like my partner always tells me you love to monetize your passion.
Also just like it's hard to keep your eye on 3 different balls that are all moving
Oh
in
my
different fucking
God.
directions.
You know what, though? I've said this before. If you've listened to any of the other podcasts, I don't believe in balance anymore. I
Okay.
used to.
Yes.
There's no such thing. You know what, though? And that's okay.
Yeah.
There are
Yes.
different things in your life that you're going to prioritize at different times.
Yes.
And
Yes.
people, like, you just need to accept that. The sooner you accept it, the easier it is, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I think that has also, it makes you appreciate the times when you are focused on certain things. And there's probably some times that the podcast, you're like, oh, I don't want to film this episode. I'm so not in the mood.
Yeah.
But then when you are really excited about it, you're like, oh, it's a nice reminder.
Yes, I love that. My therapist says that a lot. And because I'll be like, yeah, like this week I need to prioritize this more
Yeah.
than these 2 things because that's just life.
Yeah.
And like I know like a lot of people have struggled with burnout, and I know Sarah's talked a lot about it. And I think something Sarah and I have both talked about a lot is like we both sort of ran ourselves just like so hard for so many years and then
Mhm.
kind of like crashed and fucking burned. And so I think both of us now
That's
get
about right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we both get a little bit like afraid
of
when like,
crashing and burning.
yeah. And so like I'm now like trying to learn how to like appreciate and kind of enjoy the weeks that are crazy and stressful and like let a week or 2 weeks be like absolutely bonkers and insane and like be like you're not doing that every week.
Yes.
Let the 2 weeks be crazy and a little stressful and kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then the following week is going to be a little more chill and then like
You appreciate that time.
yeah,
Yeah.
like find a way to enjoy like not the highs and lows but the like different
Words. They're
different
the different times in your
the
life.
different shades, the different
shades.
That's a good word.
I couldn't find the word. If you watch the YouTube video, you could see all my arms, and maybe my arms will explain it better. I don't think so.
No, I agree. I
I
agree.
love
Thank you.
it. So kind of shifting gears to, your like kind of post-grad life and moving to New York. Was New York always like in your vision?
Oh my God, no.
Really?
Never.
Oh my gosh. Well, why? How?
Yeah.
So big engineering hubs. I was just talking to someone about this the other day. Engineering hubs are Minnesota,
Okay.
Right.
Boston,
Yeah.
Hey.
Texas, California, like San Francisco.
Okay.
New York is not. New York is like a finance bro.
Yeah.
Finance hub,
Yeah.
consulting. So it was just never in the cards for me. I also never had any family up north. All
Okay.
my family was. I'm from Maryland, so all my family was from Maryland. I just never had a reason. I had visited New York City growing up, but it was just. I don't know. It was just never a thing. When so my ex, he actually lives in Manhattan, so he was the first person I really knew to live in the city.
Mhm.
Or at least he was going to move there, I think, when we first started dating. And when I shifted and decided to go into consulting, which is what my role is in now, I realized it had opened the doors. I'm like, oh, I'm not just limited to these hubs or locations. So I started looking and randomly, I actually live in Hoboken. I don't know if
Yes.
you know that.
Yeah.
So I just started looking and I'm like, okay, I'm not ready for New York City. Also, what if my boyfriend and I break up, which we did? I was like, I don't want to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
I also am nervous if this isn't what I want. I also really value my space, and I
Mhm.
knew that I wouldn't be able to afford a place with like all the amenities that I wanted. So I was like, okay, Hoboken's a kind of middle ground, and I can test the waters. It's only 3.5 hours from home. And that's kind of how it ended up working out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so coming to a place where you didn't know a lot of people, like how did you navigate kind of building a community here?
First, random Facebook roommate.
Yes, I love this story.
Random Facebook, like people get nervous, and I know that a lot of people struggle with roommates, but you have to, I get gut feelings when I talk to people if we're gonna click or not. Like I spoke to this one girl, like a potential Facebook roommate, and I just didn't get she was a very nice girl.
Yeah.
I just I could already foreshadow us not being the best of friends. And not that I was looking for a best friend or anything,
Sure.
but I wanted to make sure it was a girl that I could be friends with. And so I ended up meeting my roommate, Amanda. We got on a FaceTime call and it just kind of clicked. You meet her friends. or I met her friends
Right.
after, and it just ended up being a really good situation. It just snowballs. I think people forget all it takes is meeting one person
Mhm.
that
Sure.
will introduce you to another person, that will introduce you to another person. There, so it's just kind of been like that. And the building that I'm living in now, I have some random connection where my best friend from home, a girl that she went to college with, happened to just move to Hoboken and live in there.
Oh
And
my God.
then my best friend from college just moved to Hoboken. And then I've met girls from PR that have wanted to take me out to dinner, and then we became best friends.
Mhm.
And then I met her friend through her. So it's always just like random connections, but you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think a random roommate, if you are living in a new city, find the right person, and that will help you because then you also have another person to tag along with to things. And
Yeah.
it's like you can go to that workout class together, and it's not as scary as doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
So
I think it's so funny because I didn't even realize this until like this moment now, but my freshman year at Elon, we went to Elon.
okay.
Yeah, and my roommate was random on Facebook,
Mhm.
like one of those group chats that you get put
Yep.
into when you go to school, and she was an incredible like roommate, and like
And I picked mine, and it ended up being a complete disaster.
I mean,
Mine was someone I knew, and it worked out poorly.
it happens, but you
Yeah.
learn from it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Learn from it.
100%. But I think that's because, and maybe you guys felt this way, but, I grew up right outside New York. So
Okay.
when we moved back here, I was like, oh, I have my high school friends. And because we went to school for musical theater, everyone's
moved
coming
here.
to New York because they want to
Mm.
hopefully be on Broadway. And so I was like, I'm in this ideal situation, but it's been so much fun to like mix my school friends with my high school friends and like have everybody meet each other and stuff like that. So I've always been curious to hear a perspective from somebody that's like, I'm just gonna move somewhere.
Yeah, it's scary,
Yeah.
but I think it's very rewarding when you actually do, and it takes time to do
Yeah.
that. I've been here a little over a year, and I just now feel like I'm starting to have people that I can say I'm not spending a Friday or Saturday night alone.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I did rely, I think, on my roommate a little bit too much when I first moved in,
Mhm.
just because it's easy to have you
Right.
have one
Yeah.
person, but I think as time goes on, you get more comfortable, and that's when you start making new friends. So it takes time and it's scary, but it's very worth it.
And
Right.
also, most people like are around our age are looking for friends.
Friends,
Like
I know.
someone who's now become one of my dear friends. We were in a random class together. I'm not even sure. Like we literally had been in one class together. And then afterwards, I think we ended up walking to the same subway station. One of us asked the other for coffee. It took us over 6 months, I think, to actually get coffee because we keep
Of cour-
having to
it's always- yeah.
reschedule. But
Story
now
of my
she's like
life.
one of my dearest friends. And thank
Aw.
God, whichever one of us, I think it might have been her actually, to be like, hey, do you want to get coffee? Even though we'd only spoken for 45 seconds.
Yeah. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
True.
Nothing to lose. Why not?
100%.
If you don't vibe, you don't have to get coffee again.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what do you feel like some of maybe the biggest challenges have been for you, like post grad, especially living in a new city, new job?
Oh, I don't know.
Mm.
I think there's challenges in all of them.
Okay.
I don't know what I would say the biggest was. I think maybe distancing. No, distancing isn't even the right word. I think branching out away from my roommate.
Mm.
That might be it. I relied on her a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I struggle with all of my friends starting to get into relationships. Actually, that's it. A lot of my friends are in relationships.
Yeah.
And I am so happy being single. I want nothing to do with men right now. But it's hard when all your friends, they are with their boyfriends, and it's tough.
Yeah.
So, and you can't, I don't know. So it's finding that balance and trying to figure out, okay, make new friends and try to branch out and put yourself out there so that you aren't feeling, you're not just relying on one person for happiness, if that makes sense. Sorry, that was a
100%.
long-winded answer.
No. I
was
think
trying to
I
find a way.
saw you make a TikTok video about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's such I've been with my partner for 3 years, but, and I was talking about them with this last night, and I was like, I saw this video that she did and da da da. And you had explained it, like when you're with somebody in that romantic way, like that becomes your companion.
Yeah.
And so, and I said to my partner, I was like, like there'll be times when my friends ask me to hang out and I'll say no to them, but I'll say yes to you because hanging out with you is a very different sort of,
Low effort.
companionship. And so I really like I look back at times in my life where I wasn't with somebody and my friends were, and I really struggled with like that sort of loneliness, which is something I know you talk about on
Yeah.
your page as well, because it's that companionship that you have with like a romantic partner is very like special, and it's and different.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to like talk about and get deep about certain things in a romantic relationship that I think we're not, particularly when you get older, like I don't know, it doesn't feel as easy to do in friendships.
Yeah.
And like I'm in a similar place as you. I have no interest in dating right now. I'm deeply enjoying being incredibly selfish and just
Amen.
incredibly
Slay.
focused on myself. Um but like there have been times where it's like, oh, I need to talk about something really heavy and intense, and like it would be nice to like have a built-in buddy or to have someone who like to talk about that. And like I think friends are really important, and I think like finding friends who you can like talk about those things, because like even someday when I do have a partner, like you can't depend on one person for everything. Like it's
Yeah.
not fair to a person to depend on them for one person for everything. And so y- yeah, I don't really have an ending to that sentence.
You're right. One person cannot be your everything.
No.
And I don't know about you guys. I feel like everyone's been in the situation where you're in a relationship and you're so infatuated by this person that you
Yeah.
isolate yourself.
Mhm.
You stop saying yes to things.
Yeah.
You're comfortable.
Sure.
So I've been there. I get it. But it's really important to put yourself in a position where you're saying yes to both things.
Yeah.
And also understanding and respecting that your friends want to spend time with their significant others and have that time with them. So it's a hard balancing act, but
Yeah. When you're feeling lonely, whether that's like, your friends are with their partners, or like you're just like general, like I feel like every 20 something feels like this weird like loneliness sometimes. Like, what are some things that you do to kind of get yourself out of it?
I keep myself so busy.
Okay.
My calendar is always so booked.
Okay.
I walk in the mornings. I'm
Yeah.
doing events after work. I'm going
Sure.
to get a drink with another friend. I plan things. I go visit home in Annapolis. I'll book a trip to travel. I'm always trying to keep myself busy so that doesn't happen.
Nice.
But I didn't do that for a little bit. And that's when it was tough because I was focusing and relying on someone who was also trying to balance their time with other people in a relationship. So you have to put yourself in a position where you have options and things to do and keeping yourself busy.
I like that. That's a good like options. That's a good way of looking
Yeah,
at it. I
yeah.
like that a lot.
And you have different friends for different reasons.
Sure. Yeah.
Different reasons, different seasons.
Yeah, 100%. Now, even like in the city, and so you're not really interested. Are you dating
Ugh.
at all?
Mm. Did you see the TikTok?
I was gonna ask you about the TikTok.
When is this airing?
It's airing in like a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 weeks at least.
So, if you haven't seen the TikTok, Jake's ACL, he shot his shot
Yes.
on TikTok.
Yes.
And I duetted the video, and it happened to go very viral.
I know.
So I had DM'd him, or I'm sorry, I commented on his video and in the duet, and I said, "Send me a DM." Here's where I'm at in my life. I am so happy. I want nothing to do with men
Yeah.
dating, but if the right person came
Yeah.
into my life, and they were perfect for me, and it fit into my life so seamlessly, I wouldn't pass that up.
Sure.
But I'm not actively seeking it out. Like if it just like is in front of me, fine. And it makes my life better. But I don't need anyone to like
Right.
because I'm good right now. So I don't know. I think that was a very bold and brave thing for him to do. So he sent me a message on Instagram and then we got each other's number. This was the gala or the event was supposed to be last night at Saturday night.
Oh my
It's
God.
Sunday today. And he had made the video on a Sunday, this past Sunday.
Yeah.
I was coming home from Dallas. I was sick on Monday. I ended up taking off work on Monday and we were supposed to talk Tuesday. That was the day that I had the little meltdown that I was
Sure.
talking
Yeah.
about. Because I wanted to go so bad,
Yeah.
but my calendar is always so booked because
Yeah.
I'm keeping myself busy and
Yeah.
trying to do things. And it was just a little last minute for me. So I already had plans and it was just a lot to like
Navigate.
yeah, but I think we'll get a drink. Maybe we'll see.
Yay.
So maybe when this airs,
Yes.
we already have gone to hang out. But the Rangers, the New York Rangers, they literally just commented on the video and tagged us. And I've been wanting to go to a Rangers game
Oh
with
my
one of my
God.
girlfriends, but they
Thank you.
commented. They're like, if there's a date 2 in the works, we'll hook you up with tickets.
Wait, that is so iconic. No, I was curious. I bet everybody who's seen that video is curious.
I
Like,
haven't addressed anything. Like everyone's commenting, and
Yeah.
neither of us have said anything.
yeah. Well, that's good that you guys like have each other's back in that way.
Yeah.
And like, I thought it was bold. I was like,
Very.
damn. When I saw it, I was
Very.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Was like, respect the hustle.
Respect.
Absolutely. I think it was very impressive on his part. It's
Yeah.
scary to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well, you'll see what happens.
see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, hope you guys go to a
Never
Ranger
say
game
never.
at least.
Yeah, I wanna go
That's
to a
so
Rangers
fun.
game.
That's so fun. I've been a couple of times. They're fun.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
really want to go.
They're a good time. They're a good time. Have you done any of the dating app stuff in New York?
I've never ever had a dating app.
Really?
I've never done it. Mm-mm.
I've briefly done them. Yeah.
I've been in one long-term relationship that technically we ended up dating from a dating app, but we had met in person previously.
I've heard that so many times. Like, well, technically,
It
No,
wasn't.
So it was like we had
You knew each
met
other
in
before.
passing.
That's the way to go, though.
Yes, like that's
Yeah.
the thing. I would have never actually gone on a date with him had I not met him already.
What's in passing? Define in passing.
So my college roommate's big in her sorority.
Okay.
He was her date. They were just friends. They weren't romantically involved though.
Okay.
He did have a big crush on her, and their friendship ended up falling apart over it.
Mm.
But I didn't know that at the time. So they came to pick up the dress that she was going to borrow from my roommate.
Mhm.
I thought he was cute. I was going in and out of the living room doing laundry, and they were off whatever. We spoke briefly. I think we ended up following each other on Instagram. Then I unfollowed him over that summer because I was like, I'm never going to see this man again. Unfollow. And then,
I love that.
yeah, that happened in like spring, and then we matched on a dating app in September.
Okay. Did it work out?
Well, we dated for like 8 months.
Oh. Okay.
But we've been broken up for a long time now.
All right. Well, maybe not like a true success story, but
But like something.
Yeah, something.
One of my
Yeah.
best friends from home, she and her boyfriend have been together for over 3 years. They're now living together. And it was sort of the same situation. Like he ran in some of the same crowds as
yeah.
she knew people of. And then, yes, they matched on a dating app, but they had already heard of each other and they're, in love.
I think like the dating app gives the level of safety and distance of like you both get to admit to liking each other with no possibility of rejection, because if they say no, they'll never know that you were interested.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because
That
I think
makes-
was it Bumble or Hinge? Whatever. It was on
Yeah.
some app where like if we didn't both swipe right, we wouldn't have gotten the notification.
If I was in a place in my life where I was 100% ready, I'm like, okay, I want to be with someone. My
Like
life is
seeking it.
great. Yeah.
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 But since I'm not seeking it out right now, I'm like,
Yeah, there's no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
so are
like
you?
that.
Are you actively dating on
Mm,
Hinge?
No, I'm kind of in a very similar place to you. Like
Okay,
if I've
that's right.
come across someone I'm really interested in, I'm happy to date them. But like I'm too deep in my own shit. Depending on the day, I'll phrase it in different ways. Some days I say like I'm just enjoying being selfish. Some days I say like I'm too much of a mess and no one needs to be in my blast
Mhm.
radius.
Yeah.
Depends on how I feel about
Yeah.
myself that
Oh,
day.
same.
But I'm really enjoying not like
Good for you.
dating is a lot of responsibility to another person, and I don't want to fucking deal with that right
Work.
now.
It's so much work. You have
Yeah.
to like I always talk about this. I don't know how I'm supposed to do the whole marriage and life thing. It's like I'm so selfish. I
Mhm.
love and I am so loyal to my friends and my family. It's like
Mhm.
how do you have time for your career, your friends, your family, your own passions and hobby, taking care of yourself, and then you have to go and like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
do that for someone else? It's
Yeah.
a lot.
I agree. It's somebody like from what I've learned in my relationship, it's somebody special because I've been in other relationships that have just sucked the mental energy
Mm.
out of me, consumed my mental state. And this one's so different because this person doesn't like do that. Like it's a much more like complimenting of life. But even sometimes still like it is a responsibility in your life. And as a 25-year-old, it can be hard sometimes. But I think we both are on the same, like, know that, like, yes, our relationship is a priority, but sometimes, like, hey, work is the priority this week, or my friends
Yeah.
are the priority, or their friends are the priority, which I think is really nice because I think it's hard when somebody is expecting you to be their number one, like
Mhm.
100% of the time. And as an evolving adult, like you can't give that unless there's like a marriage, children, like, there's other responsibilities there.
Also, and I know this deep down, I know when you love someone, you want to do it and you
Sure.
want to put
Yeah.
in that time and effort. So
Yeah.
it takes the right person.
Oh,
We'll meet them
100%.
eventually.
Yeah, if I come across someone, great. But like, I don't feel like digging through like sort of like. Have you ever been to like a thrift store where there's a pile and you have to dig through to try and find the really good thing?
God, don't dig through the pile.
I don't feel like digging through the pile right now. If the perfect
Yes.
thing falls in my lap, great, I'll
Great.
buy it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like wadding through all of that
no.
nasty. There might be bed bugs in there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that shit.
Looks from Paris.
No,
Oh my goodness. All right, before we end, I wanted to do a little bit of makeup, skincare, this or that, because I love your
this.
Rex and watching it. So, YSL concealer or the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion?
I don't. Which YSL concealer?
Is it the one in the gold
I've
thing?
used that for like a
Is that
decade now.
YSL?
Is that
It is
the?
YSL.
Does it have the pump?
Yes.
Okay, that one I don't love on me. I have dry under eyes.
Okay.
So I feel like it clings and it's not as high coverage as I would like. It's very sheer. It's very beautiful. Elf actually has a dupe to that one, I believe,
Oh.
if you've been using it and
check
if
that
you
out.
need it.
I've literally
No.
used it for like a
Yeah.
decade.
Elf,
Oh,
I'm
really?
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was
I-
like the first concealer I ever bought, and I've just kept rebuying it.
I'm sorry, a YSL was the first one you ever bought?
It was like, so the first like real time that I bought
Okay.
makeup, my mom took me to Sephora and was like, we're gonna get you a whole thing. She was horrified when I was like, I want to try cat look and cat eye. And she like, I think thought it was gonna be like a giant thing. And she was no one in my family wears makeup.
Okay.
But yeah, no,
It looks great on you.
thank you. Thank
You're
you. I'm a very oily
Oh my
girl.
gosh, stop.
Oily
No.
girl.
No, I mean as in like that's probably part of why it works
Oh,
well for me is
okay.
like I'm not dry.
Fair,
I'm
fair.
wet. I'm damp.
What? Okay.
Getting hot.
The Refy primer or the Milk Makeup like grip one. I've never tried the Refy one. I want to try it just for the applicator, but is it worth it?
Mm-mm.
No.
And I also don't love the Milk Hydro Grip.
Okay, so which one do you use primer?
Honestly, I'm not a huge primer girl.
Okay.
If I use one, Cali Ray, the collagen blurring,
Yes.
that one's good.
Okay.
It just kind of fills in the pores. But for primer, honestly, I just good moisturizer.
Okay.
And I love using either the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion
Okay. Yeah.
as like a tan base or the Say Super Glowy.
Oh
Yes,
yes,
yeah.
the super glow. I
Those.
love Say.
Yeah.
I love Say.
Yeah,
I think their
me too.
products are great.
Yeah.
Do you like the Elf Halo Glow better or the Charlotte Tilbury?
Like, is there a difference? I feel like there's.
I've
literally
never
the same
used
formula.
the Elf one because I used I got, when it was super popular on TikTok, I got the Charlotte Tilbury one and then I was like, I think this is just clogging my skin even
Really?
more.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like, I just feel like I don't know if it's necessary for me.
The Halo Glow's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I should try it.
Is there anything that's really popular right now that you're like, no?
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Oh,
question.
I am the first one to be like, I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Name some viral products right now?
I know, I'm trying to think of viral products.
Oh,
I'm like, I
Do you-
never buy things.
I
that
brain is
goes
broken.
something
viral.
I thought was interesting from your content was you were like, at least when it first came out, I don't know how you feel about it now, the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush. You were like, no.
I
Still no? Or still
it's
just not
okay.
trying?
I don't. I have it.
Okay.
Rare Beauty, I love you. I don't. Yeah, love you guys. I don't reach for it as often, but it's a nice blush. The blush I'm loving right now is the Patrick Ta and shade blush.
Me, that's yes,
Is
yes.
that what shade you have?
So actually today I like to mix my blushes a lot. So I have like as for the cream, I have the Say one. I don't remember the color of it, but it's like a peachy one. And then on
Okay.
top, I put the She's Blushing. I'm just so into Patrick Ta right now, like his products. I love the contour, like the contour like double
I haven't
palette.
tried that. I need to.
Ooh, really good. I love the blushes. Those are like the two
Yeah.
things. I love the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. That's like my go-to foundation.
I'm trying to find a new foundation right now, and I'm not enjoying the process.
No. I'm trying to think what foundations are. I like the Kosas foundation.
Oh, I haven't
I'll have
tried
to try
that
that one.
What else?
haven't tried that one. Yeah, I feel like a lot of concealers have just come out, like the House Labs one, the Makeup by Mario
Have
one.
you tried the House Labs?
No, I
No,
haven't tried anything.
I
House
got the
Labs.
Makeup by Mario one, but I'm not sure I like it. It
I
really,
heard not good.
yeah. I got that one before the House Labs one, but now I really want to go get the House Labs
No,
one.
Vogue, I love that. I mean, I'm wearing it right now. It's
Yeah,
really
okay.
good.
It looks
Love the
really
House
good. I
Labs.
feel like the
Yeah.
Makeup by Mario one like gets in my creases.
Yeah.
What are your like top like right now or even in general like top 3 products like across the board that you go for? Like whether it's makeup or hair or skincare.
Oh gosh. Hair, my top product I feel like that I've been using for a long time is the Olaplex #6. The
Okay.
Bond Smoother. I use that I wash my hair every day.
Yeah.
And
I
I
wash
use
it almost every day, which
yeah,
I know is a
every
very
or every
controversial
other.
opinion in
I
the
know.
beauty world.
I use that every single day after like as leave-in conditioner.
Okay.
Love that. The Orbe hair oil. Have you tried that?
No, but
No.
I love their texture spray. I use
Their
it.
texture
Yeah,
is so
so good.
I don't
good.
know anything about hair.
Really?
Yeah.
What
It's
do
just
you
the one thing I
use?
never learned. I a lot of times use a co-wash and then
What's a co-wash?
it's like a conditioning wash of like it's people use it more often when you have curly hair of
Yeah.
like not as harsh and so basically I put it from like root to tip and then it's mostly a lot of like cuz honestly with just water and scrubbing your scalp most the oil and dirt comes out. And then I have the whey detox for like
That
in
one's
Yeah.
between to
Love
get build
that.
up.
Yes.
And
Once a month I usually do that.
yeah, I use the Olaplex conditioner. I'm currently out of it. I don't know if I'll rebuy it because I'm not obsessed with it. But I don't even know how to blow dry hair. So I can't do it.
I'm trying to think other things. Freckle pen.
Oh, everyone loves a
Oh,
freckle pen
I
these
was
days.
against it I was like, why are people putting fake freckles on? I love it now.
There you go.
ColourPop has a great one.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm using the
Freck.
or no.
I don't know them.
Bubble Rudy Berry, that one, right?
I don't know. I've never been into the fake freckles.
I like them because I naturally have
have
freckles everywhere, but like foundation covers them up. / I wear sunscreen on my face. Like most of them, like they don't really appear on my face much.
Yeah.
But I like the ColourPop one.
Okay.
I like the applicator, and I think at least for me, it is a very good color. A lot of them are really warm tone in a way that
Interesting.
doesn't work on my skin tone, and they're a bit more cool tone. And I
Yeah.
think just for me, they color match pretty well with my
Okay.
natural freckles.
Yeah. Are you wearing it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, it's like it's nice and subtle, but very natural. I would have had no idea.
Thank you.
Makeup by Mario Skin Transforming Perfector. Have you tried that?
No.
I've tried. That's not the foundation, right? No, that's like the contour thingy majiggy.
Yeah.
Yes,
In like
in a circle thing.
pan.
Never tried that. I love
That's
his foundation though.
I like the foundation. I found
Yeah.
the foundation broke me out a bit though.
Mm.
So
You're trying it today.
I
aren't
am.
you?
I got 2 little like testers from Sephora of trying out different foundations because I'm
curious.
trying to find a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't worn it throughout the whole day. It laid better than I thought. I just don't like the sort of like iridescence it has in it. Like it has like little shimmer glitter in it.
Yeah.
And
You're like, no.
I'm already oily enough.
not the vibe.
You should try Pat McGrath,
Okay.
the Sublime Foundation.
I also just like I've basically what I used for years with the milk skin tint. I want something like very light. Sheer.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
like
okay.
full on foundation.
mind.
Like honestly, this is kind of too heavy for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah.
All right. Well, we have one more question for you.
Oh gosh.
It's what
And
we ask everyone.
We ask everybody this question. When is a recent time that you felt clueless?
It can be big, small. I had a meltdown the other week because I couldn't figure out how to clean the filter of my dishwasher. Or it can be big of like, hey, did I fuck up my taxes?
Oh gosh, all the time. I would say going back to Tuesday, I felt so bad like saying no to Jake, and I just got really emotional, was so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Why can I not just say yes and like be spontaneous? And,
Sure.
So I would say that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
This went by so fast.
I know, right? Doesn't it go by fast?
Very fast.
Time
And
flies
it was
when you're
over
having
an
fun.
hour. Isn't that crazy?
It feels like it's been like 10 minutes.
Tell the people where they can follow you.
Okay. I am on Instagram. I'm emi.billings. TikTok, I said whoa with 5 H's. And I think that's it.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And you guys can follow us on Instagram at Completely Fucking Clueless.
And on TikTok and YouTube at completely FCKING Clueless.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you have an amazing Tuesday, an amazing week, and don't forget to be motherfucking clueless.
Woo.
Bye.
Kisses from mommy.
Audrey says that at the end of every podcast, but nobody knows it.
No one can hear because I have music over it, but I say it every time.
We're hoping one day somebody will hear
I'm
it.
playing the long game of eventually people are going to hear it, and then we're going to be really popular, and we're going to go back and search for it, and then we're going to have to
doing the whole time.
Yeah, I've been long game. Long game.
This has been a 58 Ember production. For more shows, please visit the 58 Ember channel, 58ember.com, or find us at 58 Ember Media on socials.